We got a lot more VR news to talk about this week. Apple just can't seem to stop teasing us about their AR and VR future. Now, for years, it had been rumored, there had been reports leaked and things showing that Apple was working on some sort of wearable device on your head. Now, initially, people thought this was AR. It's been more confirmed that there will be MR, or mixed reality for those unfamiliar. Something like the Quest Pro, it can do VR, it can also do AR, so it ends up being called MR for mixed reality. Now they are saying they are still due to launch their original MR headset this year, something with some really interesting and impressive specs, but their AR glasses, they were saying that were going to be lightweight, small, just AR glasses were supposed to be a follow-up to that MR device, have been delayed for an unset amount of time. Initially reported on Bloomberg, they had said they were running up against a bunch of technical challenges in trying to develop these, and now they're looking at still launching their original MR glasses and another set of smaller MR glasses, potentially 2024, 2025. The unannounced set that are supposed to be launching this year are still said to potentially be somewhere around $3,000, but have quite an impressive spec sheet. Resolution is rumored to be at 4K per eye, 120-degree field of view, a waist-mounted battery that connects with a cable, which is probably the thing that kills it the most when I hear about this headset. Obviously, it's hard to put a battery on your head with how much weight it adds, but having a cable, again, going to something on your waist, not something I'm looking to do in VR at this point. Low latency color pass-through, auto IPD adjustment. One of the interesting things they brought up is they want to put more than a dozen cameras and sensors on that would capture not only your facial expressions, your body movements, and even your legs. We all know the meme that Mark Zuckerberg said everybody just wants legs in VR. Probably the most compelling idea it has is short and long range LiDAR scanners, so that instead of having to take the time to map out your 3D environment around you, it would do it for you. It would see the room, it would map everything out automatically, and you wouldn't have to take time to set up walls yourself or a desk yourself. It would do it all. Disappointing news that once again, the AR side has been delayed, and who knows if the MR will be. We've seen delays over the years with Apple, but as I was just talking to someone on the podcast who's very involved in the AR scene, they had said it is so much more challenging to make a good set of AR glasses than anyone thought, with one of the biggest challenges having a bright enough display that even if you go outside, you can still easily read and see everything on it, and that not absolutely destroying any sort of battery life that it had in the first place. Apple has a huge user base, huge fan base that's willing to pay anything they'll sell their products for, so I believe that when this comes out, even at $3,000, we will see a flood of people buying them, and probably people who weren't even that involved in the VR scene in the first place. But what do you think? I'd love to know in the comments. A big rumor and question mark for a long time is, will PSVR 2 work on PC? It's just a USB-C cable running to it. The headset itself tracks the controllers, so a lot of people say, why wouldn't it? PSVR 1 actually was made to work on computer through a program called Trinus or Ivory, and that was a ton of work, but was possible, as the developer of Ivory said, because it was basically a monitor that was on your head, and they found ways to reverse engineer it and to make that happen, although it took about a year from the original release, and even now, to get it really working anything like a normal PCVR headset is a ton of work. Those developers have said they believe that the PSVR 2 is designed in such a way that they won't be able to get it to work. They are speculating somewhat, but they think that it's encrypted. Even if they were able to, it would take years potentially to make it work at all. So for people who have been thinking, should I get a PSVR 2 because it might work on PC? They're saying they don't think it will. Now, I remember when Quest 1 came out from Oculus, and I said that I thought eventually they would release some sort of cable to make it work on PC. Was hit with a lot of backlash. A lot of people said there's no way they would do that, or they would have announced that at launch. So I'm kind of wondering what you think here. Is Sony considering launching PCVR on their PSVR 2 maybe down the road once sales with the PS5 start to slow, or they figure enough people have their PS5s that everybody has gotten theirs? It is just a USB-C cable. It seems possible that they may have something up their sleeve, but that's where I pass the question over to you. What do you think? Do you think they're going to make it happen? Do you think they have any interest, or would anyone be interested in buying it for use on the PC at its current price and features? I know I would. How would you feel if you went in for surgery and your doctor was wearing an AR headset as they went in to do your surgery? Well, Magic Leap 2 has just gained certification so that doctors can actually now use the headset during surgeries. Announced at CES, I actually got to try a pair of the Magic Leap 2, and I'm starting to see where these could be valuable even in a doctor's setting. They say that this will allow doctors to focus more on the patient instead of having to look around the room at 2D screens they have around them. Something such as a 3D mapping of the patient's heart, they could actually see off to the side as they were looking at their heart to do an operation. From what I've seen from using this and reading about it, it seems like this is going to be more, instead of having vitals on screens around, this could be something that could be displayed and not in the way of the doctor, but to where they wouldn't have to be turning their head completely away from the patient they're working on. This is not something I would expect anytime soon to see, this using an AR line to trace down someone's chest, telling them where to cut. I don't believe that this is quite at that level, as I saw even with holograms and their exact placement staying where you wanted them to. I don't think this is going to be assisting in surgery yet, but to be able to focus directly on the patient, to have any pertinent information around your eyes that you can still look at without having to physically turn your head away, I think it's a really interesting case use. Of all the AR glasses I tried so far, Magic Leap 2 does seem to be leaps and bounds ahead of the competition in its clarity and what it can do, how it also feels on your head. So what do you think? I'd love to know. When it comes to Quest 2 accessories, some companies have made big names for themselves in the industry, like Bobo VR, by making really great accessories. RAZER might actually be stepping into the space to try and take over. They are announcing an adjustable head strap and a facial interface for the Quest 2. Not only does this come with RAZER's expertise in the gaming space, but they have actually collaborated with ResMed, a San Diego-based medical equipment company that has actually worked on medical devices that strap to your head and need to stay comfortable for people. Contrary to what we've become accustomed to in the Quest 2 head strap space, instead of having a lot of hard plastics and things that help support the weight, this is a soft head strap made from a nylon that is supposed to have an optimized weight distribution, slip on, and be soft and adjustable. You can pair this up with their facial interface. It is supposed to add extra comfort and support, and is even made from medical grade hypoallergenic materials. It's going to block light and is supposed to eliminate the facial pressure. At first glance, this does remind me of a deluxe audio strap that people did find were very comfortable for a long time on the Quest 2, and a Franken-Quest their way to using one. I even used one for a long time. That said, until we get our hands on this and actually see what it's like, it's hard to make any judgments. Although when I hear a soft head strap, I get nervous about weight distribution, and looking at it from the side, I also wonder about headphones and other possibilities with this. There is a place you can go get notified, sign up for email so that you know the minute this becomes available. I did that because I'm going to buy this thing and try to help you review it the second I can get my hands on it. If you haven't heard of Shiftall, you're not alone. They are a subsidiary of Panasonic, currently working on the MegaNex headset that we tried at CES. One of the most uncomfortable headsets I've had on in a long time, but one of the clearest AR pass-throughs I had ever seen on one. They are working on a controller that they also were showing off at CES. There's a video that they got Palmer Luckey actually to try it, although it's such an awkward video because they didn't know when to end the video. It's pretty funny. We'll have it on the screen here for you to see. But this VR controller would be able to flip out of the way of your hands. So then if you are a developer, you're working on something, you just need to do an email, grab a drink, you just flip these out of the way, head over, type on your keyboard, grab something, even eating. Something that would really make VR much simpler. Currently, our controllers are either holding them the whole time, or like a Valve Index, your hands go through them, but ultimately the controller is still in between your palms and whatever you're trying to work on, grab, or do, ultimately limiting you. This does use base stations similar to Valve Index controllers, so this is not something that is made for inside-out tracking, but they're saying this would also open up the possibility when more headsets have hand or finger tracking, you could flip the controllers out of your way, switch to something that uses your hands, and then flip them back. I could see these being paired with a really cool cyberpunk game where you have guns on the outside of your hands that you flip in to then shoot stuff, flip out, and then use your actual hands with hand tracking. It's a long ways in the future, but it's a cool application. No price yet, but they say they are going to launch them hopefully later this year. So I'd love to know, what do you think about these controllers? It's an interesting idea because we're so used to some headsets having the convenience of being able to flip them out of our way, but the controllers either dangle from your wrists or stay on your hands has always been a bit more difficult. A lot of cool things happening in the world of VR. I'm keeping you posted here every week with these, telling you what's going on in the news, but I'd love to hear from you out there. Is there something that happened in the news that I didn't cover that you'd like to talk about more? Let me know in the comments, but I want to say thank you for coming out, and I will see you in another reality.